Today's video is about fish. So if you don't like fish, what's wrong with you? You should like fish. I love fish. I have several aquariums. And I'm headed to the Heart of America Aquarium Society of Kansas City's Summer Swap. The event is being sponsored by the Kansas City Fish Club. And it's being held at a church in Kansas City, the Gaslin Presbyterian Church. So let's go. Let's head to Kansas City to my first fish swap. Well, I'm not asking for sympathy or pity here, but I don't have any friends or family members that care anything about aquariums or fish keeping, tropical fish, saltwater fish. They don't care anything about keeping fish. So I am on my own, headed to Kansas City to this fish meeting, this fish swap. I don't know anyone that's a member of the Kansas City Fish Society, so I know no one that's going to this fish swap. It's going to be a little awkward walking in alone. But I'm going to put a smile on my face. I'm going to have joy in my heart because I'm going to be around a bunch of fish nerds, and I love fish nerds. The fish swap starts at 11 a.m., and my plan is to be there right at 11. I want to make sure that I have a good chance at all the best fish. If I get there too late, I'm afraid the best fish and best plants may be gone. Now, I'm not sure if this is the best strategy. When you go to a flea market, they say it's better to go at the end of the day. Those vendors don't want to pack up all that stuff and take home, so sometimes you get a bargain. But today, I'm not as much worried about getting a bargain as just getting some really pretty fish and getting the opportunity to talk to some fish nerds like myself about fish and how they keep fish and how they breed fish. Well, luckily, with a GPS in my car, I was able to find this church where the swap meet was being held so easily. It was a beautiful church, a big church, and to my surprise, the parking lot was packed. I got here at about 5 minutes after 11, and remember, the swap started at 11, and the parking lot is already full. There's even people set up in the parking lot that are selling some used aquariums and aquarium supplies. So I'm so excited as I'm finding a parking place and I'm getting into the fish swap. As I entered the room of the fish swap, I didn't feel awkward at all. They were very welcoming. There was a table up front where you could sign in, give your email address, and also sign up for a raffle, a free raffle. My strategy was to walk around the room quickly and take an overview of what they had. There were certain types of fish that I was looking for, and as the room filled up and got crowded, there were 2 or 3 people at every table buying things. So you kind of had to wait in line to get to buy your fish. And because they didn't have signs up to say, okay, this table is selling guppies, this table is selling corridoras, this table is selling plecos, you had to go up to the table and really look into the bag and try to figure out, okay, what is this table selling? So if there's one critique I had of the event, I wish they had signs that clearly said what each table was, so you didn't stand in line and then get there and realize, oh, this isn't the table that I want to be, these aren't the type of fish or the type of plants that I'm interested in. But shout out to 2 tables or 2 vendors. I did not get the guy's name that was selling plants. Well, there were a lot of people selling plants, but one guy in particular, and I'll put the picture of his table up right now in the video. This guy was so organized, you could clearly see what he was selling and the prices. He had the prices of what his plants were going for. So I loved his table. I hate that I didn't buy any plants from him. I honestly just forgot. I was so excited about the fish I bought, I didn't buy any plants. My other shout out is to Jack, the Jack at the very front table that was selling corridoras. I bought 5 corridoras from him. Cories were one of the fish that I was looking for. A cory was one of the things I wanted to come home with. And it was the first fish I saw. Right after I left the welcome table, the raffle table, you saw Jack's fish, and he had those cories in a small, I would say a 5 or 7 gallon tank set up where you could actually see the fish. And I love that he had them that way, and then he bagged them for you. What I liked about that was that you could see the fish better, and you saw him bag them, and you knew they had only been in the bag from that moment until you got them home. So shout out to Jack. I love my corridoras. They're doing well. Why it was important to me to see him bag up those fish is I knew it was going to be 10 to 12 hours before I was home with those fish. As I looked at bagged fish on a lot of other tables, I noticed some of the bags had a lot of fish poop in the bag. It made me realize that maybe these sellers, these vendors, had bagged their fish the day before or the night before. And so here I've got this 10 or 12 hour drive. So it made me feel better knowing that Jack was bagging up my fish right then, and they were only going to be in the bag until I got them home. The other fish on my list that I was hoping to get that day were some pretty guppies. I was wanting some new guppies. I was also wanting to talk to these guppy breeders and kind of get their idea of what's going wrong with my guppies. I've been buying guppies for years, and it seems like as they reproduce and I get more baby guppies, the genetics, I guess, are diluted and they become less colorful. You'll buy a couple of pretty guppies and put them in with your guppies, and over time they start producing really boring looking guppies. The guppies that I'm having are not very pretty, and I will once in a while go buy a real pretty male or a real pretty female and put it in the tank, but it's like I still don't get those pretty guppies. And after talking with a couple of the guppy breeders, they confirmed really what I thought or what I should have known, that to put those pretty guppies in with the ugly guppies, it seems like the ugly is a stronger genetic trait and you're going to get ugly guppies. They said that you really need, if you have a pretty platinum guppy, let's say, you better just keep them with platinum guppies. If you put that platinum in with a bunch of other guppies, it's going to dilute that strain and you're not going to have as pretty a fish as if you keep just that type of guppy together. So that was interesting to me. I kind of thought it probably worked that way. There were several people selling guppies, and they were all beautiful guppies, and everyone I talked to about their guppies were very nice, and I enjoyed it. Now, I did decide on these guppies. I did buy a bag of guppies, a bag of female guppies, and I really liked the color that they had for females. I thought they were really pretty. Now, there was a lot of poop in the bag. So luckily, my husband had let me borrow this live bait cooler, and so I had this in my car. So I felt okay about the long trip home because I could put these fish into this cooler and with the aerator in some clean water, and I felt like they would be fine for the trip home. My fish are doing great. I love my little Corydoras and I love my guppies. I had a great time at the fish swap. And I want to encourage you that if you have not gone to a fish club meeting or gone to a fish swap because you didn't want to go alone, go ahead and go. You're going to be welcomed by a lot of other fish keepers that love fish just like you do, and you're going to have a great time. I want to encourage you to step out of your comfort zone and go somewhere alone. Don't sit home and not go to things because you have to go alone. Sometimes stepping out of our comfort zone is good for us. Until next time, bye.